Hi everyone, welcome to Tech Talk with Tech2. Today we have Kevin Beck with us, and he's going to talk about 25 years of ThinkPad.
All right.
Now, this is like a company that's been around since what, 92, I mean the brand itself.
Yep. Since October of '92, so we just passed our 25th birthday of ThinkPad. And I always start out by saying, for us, it's been a wonderful journey, but to have a brand like ThinkPad that is so beloved by the fans. Somebody pointed out to me that for 25 years, we're the only people in the entire industry that could describe their product line in one sentence and have everybody know what it is. It's black and has a red dot in the middle.
Yeah. So actually, think of that. I think since you've been around since the very beginning, right?
Actually, I came 20 years. I've been around for 20 of the 25 years.
But you were there in the IBM days of the
Yep,
company.
I certainly was.
Yeah. So when I was coming here and I was just doing some research into ThinkPad and all that, to me it seemed initially that the IBM ThinkPads were quirky, a little different, and the Lenovo ones are a little less so. But then after you were telling us about the innovations and all that you have done, I realized that there's something new. So can you just describe
Sure.
some of the new
subtler things? Some of the things that I talked about today were what you have to do to get usability right. We were talking earlier about the fact that to us, really the key thing about any laptop design, any ThinkPad design, is the balance. You got to get the usability right, but if you don't have the right technology, but if it isn't also durable, it ultimately doesn't work. So getting all three of those things right sometimes leads to the need for a massive amount of engineering. So just simply, for example, with our X1 Carbon, to get the bezels down to a modern sort of slim size, involved re-engineering the entire laptop, because what most people think of as dead space bezels, typically, historically, is absolutely not. It's full of wires and cables and things that go up to wireless antennas and your cameras and your microphones. So to slim down the bezels but still keep the camera up at the top so you get a good video chat experience, we had to re-engineer the whole thing. Right? And that touched every single part of the laptop. So it's always a little deeper than people think sometimes. But you got to do it, to give people what they want, which is things like thinner bezels, and then the stuff that we've done over time, like re-engineering fans to make them static free, to keep dust from being attracted to them. These are all things that we put up videos and get mentioned, but it's not part of the larger consciousness about our products all the time.
Yeah, I think I remember you mentioning that, for example, even the carbon fiber in the lid, just to get the webcam to the top. Something that looks so easy is such a complicated process, molding it.
Oh yeah, we had to re-engineer. In fact, we moved to a new type of carbon fiber material. The old type had worked very well and still continues to work very well in slightly thicker machines. But when you get down to where the whole laptop is slightly less than 16 millimeters, I mean, we're literally re-engineering the fundamental construction of carbon fiber covers to save a half a millimeter. But we have to do it by our own requirements and by our own, philosophy of the product. It's because we got to get the usability balance right and have the camera in the right place. So it's interesting. It's sort of the unsung heroes of the laptop world, or the engineers who do all this stuff.
Actually, even that reminds me, the butterfly mechanism you're talking about, right, on the keyboard. I think the yoga is almost as fascinating as that one. When you mentioned the way the keyboard moves in.
So
how long did that take to make?
That was an evolution of over about 3 years. There was an older style that had been on one of the earlier ThinkPad yogas, where in order to protect the keys when it was turned upside down as a tablet, we had the surrounding part of the keyboard bezel, actually push up and lock the keys in place at the top of their range. But then we figured out, as we looked at this, that the better thing to do to make the laptop even thinner and to even more protect the keys was to have the mechanism that's linked to the hinge actually pull all the keys down into the system. Right? And I think what you're alluding to is the fact that it doesn't do that just once, it does it twice. So when it's open 360 degrees in the back of an X1 Yoga, it's pulling all the keys all the way down into the bottom. But then as you pull it back to a normal laptop phase, they pop back up. But then as you close it, as you get close to the end, it pulls them down again, because people have oily fingers. And even though we coat the keyboards with oil-resistant coatings, when they leave oil on the keys, you don't want that deposited on the screen. So we pull the keys and the track point away from the screen when it's closed, so it keeps your screen nice and clean.
And speaking of ThinkPad's the design philosophy. So what would that be? Like, how would you describe it? It's not a device, right? It's not just the device.
Right. It's not just the device. It's looking through it, right? As our father of ThinkPad, Naito-san, always says, it's ultimately about the customer behind the product, right? So that whole balance, like I said, of usability and design, of technology and innovation, and durability and reliability, all three of those have to be in balance in order to have the best possible experience for the person at the end of the day. And it's hard, right? It's very difficult in some cases to get that balance to work out because laptops are so thin and light and crowded full of technology now that every little change can sort of set off a chain reaction or a cascade to have to move something else, and you have to move this other thing, and how does that affect? And it's, long story short, 25 years of what this team has been doing, what you see now is a lineup of ThinkPads that are all direct descendants of what we've been doing for the last 25 years of getting that balance right.
I think even looking at the future, you were talking about how ThinkPads are going to get more intelligent.
Yeah.
Which is like, they learn when they're on the desk, they learn when they're in your arms.
Right, exactly.
Can you give us like a quick overview of what you're
Sure.
looking at?
So one of the things that we've been looking at and doing in the last couple of generations is taking all of the basic information that's already available in the computer about whether it's moving based on the accelerometer. And for example, in the case of a yoga, it knows which way is up because it has to turn the screen, and then it knows which position the screen is in, whether it's opened or closed. And so by taking those things into account, we can start having the computer make some intelligent decisions in the background about, as you say, is it okay do I need to cool down because I'm in a lap? Or if I'm on a desk and the processor's pushing towards 100%, is it okay to let it go a little higher? The other thing is when I'm carrying it in an arm, like walking, it can detect the difference between being carried in a swinging arm versus just being bounced up and down, and blank the screen to save little bits of power here and there. So that's something we're very much looking at now and in the future is how to use all the information that's available in a ThinkPad to make it act more intelligently.
So is this something like, are you using machine learning to develop all these algorithms?
Yeah, there's aspects of all of that involved. In the course of building advanced sort of power management algorithms, we've ended up in many of the higher end ThinkPads, in order to save space and to have that more intelligent control, all of the power management is taken care of by a chip that we designed ourselves, that we called the Think Engine, right? So there's definitely, in the long term, both learning and testing. They'll send employees with beta level versions walking up and down the hall and up and down stairs in the building, to see how these things work and how they're affected. And so, so there's some human tweaked input, but also some machine learning as well.
So I think just to conclude, any last message for ThinkPad fans?
Just thank you, everyone. This is something that I've been working on for a very long time, and as a old school tech geek, I just love talking about all types of technology, but in particular ThinkPads. So thank you all very much, and see you next time.
Thanks for watching. Bye-bye.